Here we are at the 30th minute of the hour in the PM. I am on. I am doing a, what do you call it, a duality, a continuation. Let's see who we get on this live show. We should have some people coming on this thing, I hope. And it already says that there's somebody, but it could just be me. But we're on this. Yeah, and it's 31. I hope that I have sound. I hope that people can hear me fine. There, it says 2 already. Yeah, okay, I do have sound, so it works. I could have also used my my headset, but I didn't think to plug it in before I went on. It's just too bad. This would have sounded better. Ah, well. Don't we all make mistakes doing these things? Well, I'm here. And I was going to tell a story about a book that I was reading on what do you call it? Courts of, I could pull out the sheet. Courts of Spain and the Holy Roman Empire, Germany, the Kingdom of Germany, France, England, and how they'd play music for the kings and the queens, and they'd do all these different things, and they'd hire these people from Hungary and especially Italy, because you know Italy was such a hotbed of culture in this Renaissance, that they'd hire these people, the kings and queens, they would hire these people to come and be a part of the court to play music. And that's where a lot of, you get a lot of La Spagna, whatever you say it is. That's where you get a lot of that music from, is people that were hired into the courts by these people. They would get people from Aragon, Castile, Naples, and they'd come to the court of Isabella and Ferdinand, and they'd play them music, and that's where it came from. For 3 centuries, they had these people playing with this same tune of La Spagna. And obviously the most famous of those is Francisco de la Torre. He must have, I believe he followed the Spanish army over to the Kingdom of Naples in the Italian Wars, and that's where he did his composition. It was in Naples, but he did his composition for the King and Queen back in Castile and Aragon. So, I believe Francisco de la Torre. And he composed, obviously, de la Torre. It says that there's 2 people on this thing, but nobody has left any chats in this. So I don't know if people are in this or not. Florite 14. Active, yes. New update is available. Well, I don't want to take that update because I'm on this thing. Hair on the screen. Yeah, the danza alta. That corresponds, yep, to La Spagna, whose choreography is known. From Ferdinand II, yes. Ferdinand II of Aragon. There you go, King of Aragon. He left the royal, he was at Naples, yes. Left the royal court at Naples in 1500. It is 9 9 minutes after I went on? Or did I go on at 29 or 30? But it's 35 minutes into the hour already. The time just goes by and goes by. A Cuban fencer named Francisco, who is still alive. He was born in 1952. Competed in the 1972 and 1976 Olympics. Wow. He's Cuban, he's not. Yeah, mainly active. Who is on? I have 2 people. It says there's 2 people, but I don't see them. I'm sorry that it's at a tilt. It's a bit awkward how I have it set up, so it's at a tilt. Now it says I got 1 in. Okay. Have I lost touch with the world? I don't know. Because I'm here. I'm here, but I don't see anything. I'll give it a little while. And I will place. And here's another one. Francisco Javier de la Torre, 49th Governor General of the Philippines from 1764 to 65. Now I get into rambling. Philippines, Governor General of the Philippines. Which was a part of New Spain, which is weird because New Spain was based in Mexico, yet the Philippines were a part of it. Viceroyalty of New Spain, abolished after Mexico gained independence in 1821. So yes, yeah. New Spain. Oregon County. Oh, right. Yes, it's still there. I'll have to look at that. I've always wondered what that was. I haven't even looked at this thing one time yet. And I've been on here for 10 minutes. Or so it says. I don't know what to believe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to transpose. I'm going to transpose this information into a box. And now I know exactly what I'm going to get if I try and do that, so we're not even going to bother because I've made enough on that. So I got to go find something else. We'll just use this. Yeah. And it says, I can't even see my keyboard right now. Alright. I hope that was right. Oof. Not good. Okay. So I'll add that into here. Hopefully it doesn't fuck up. It seemed to work. Well, I'll be right back. I have to step out. We talking poetic horseshit, don't we? Well, that just took me back in time, man. I tell you, it took me back in time to not so time. You guys talk about, I talk about trolls, man. I got trolled really nice one time. Man, fucking people. You know how to troll somebody? Well, I really don't know how to execute this bullshit, but I know somebody who knows how to troll people, man. Like, fuck. We don't talk about it. Nah. So we'll be on here in just a moment with him. That'll be cool. Now, I got this old mobile. I was gonna try the other one, but I would have had to go through a couple of hoops to get on that before I went on the stream, so it's only time. It's only time. Time gained and time lost. Time is relative, though. Time is very, very relative. You know, 15 minutes might seem like a long time. There is no news. Well, there is, but nobody can see it. Time is relative to everything. It really is. Time is relative, right? 15 minutes might seem like a long time if you're sitting somewhere, you're waiting in traffic, whatever it is, man. 15 minutes might seem like a long time, and I've been on this thing for 15 minutes, and that might have seemed like a long time to some people that I've been sitting here rambling and off the camera. But 15 minutes in a day is not very much at all. I mean, 15 minutes is only a quarter of an hour, really. Quarter of an hour, am I correct? 25 is a quarter of 100, so shouldn't 15 be a quarter? I believe I'm correct. My mathematics are not very good, but if I do... Yeah, so 1/4 of an hour, right? Just want to make sure that I don't sound like a dumbass. But, so 15 minutes, 1/4 of an hour, and there's 24 hours in a day, so how many is that? I mean, 15 minutes in a day is not a very long time. You go through many 15 minutes. I've probably gone through, there are people who've gone through probably millions of 15-minute intervals in their life. 15 minutes is relative. In the history of humanity, 15 minutes, just boom, that's nothing. A century is nothing in the history of humanity, man. So 15 minutes really is, it's relative. It might seem like a long time if you're sitting in traffic and you're just, when the hell will they let me onto the intersection? 15 minutes in your life is not very long. So that's something to think about, actually. If you're sitting somewhere and you're bored and you're waiting, if you're stuck in traffic, if you're waiting to see the doctor or whatever, and you think, man, this is taking forever, think you're waiting probably 30 minutes, 40 minutes. In your life, that is literally nothing. And you won't even remember those 40 minutes of your life. It'll just be gone. So, time is very relative, you know. That's what we talk about. Time is relative. That's what it is. I'm gonna go pour a new drink. Something a little bit better than that. Yeah. Now if I come back, maybe I'll see. I don't yet see something. But I got enough drink that will last me the whole live stream. I see chat. I see the chat. Finally, let me put this. The world has lost touch with you. I was, for a second there, I was wondering because there were 2 people in here and I didn't know who they were. About maybe 10 minutes ago, I saw 2 people, but they weren't putting anything in. So I was like, am I out of touch with the world and people are just listening to me yell? Yeah, I got a lot more than I should, but I'm not going to try and put it back in the glass. So. I don't know if I'll make it through all that in the stream, but maybe I'll drink on it later. You got more than me. Yeah, I poured too much. I didn't realize exactly because it was kind of dark in the room. I was just like, whatever, pour it in there. Yeah. I had to go downstairs into the kitchen. Looks like strawberry wine. It kind of does. Yeah, strawberry wine. It's a stemless wine glass. You know, you get the ones where they cut that off because you get that thin little stem. I'll put it down real careful if you have that. Well, I had a glass that had a nice crack going all the way from here down to here. And it was like that for probably 4 years before it finally, washing it one day, and that thing came right down the middle, split even more down there, and then it came apart in my hand. So that glass was no more. There was a cracked mug as well, but I haven't used that thing in years. It's no fun to get cut by sharp glass. So. Let me see, can I turn on the thing where it says what time it was? There it is. 50 minutes. Wow, 50 minutes. I probably will stay on for an hour or two, so maybe like, it's the way they crumble cookies. There you go. Well, I'm glad you joined me tonight. Well, hopefully it doesn't look so laggy and all blocky for you. Hopefully I don't look like that and you can hear me fine. Yeah. When we were on that stream, it was pretty laggy and the sound was messed up. So hopefully it's fine now. Blood too. I forgot all about time in the big hot bathtub. Well, you know, my bathtub gets drained up quite a bit. You know, I've had to clean it out with Drano stuff. You can buy at the store these bottles of this Drano stuff, and you put it in there, and it clears up. And now, what I think, I haven't actually seen the piping for the bathtub, but I'm thinking there's a really sharp turn down, and the hair just gets clogged into that sharp turn, and it just blocks it right up because it does back up quite often. So I have to go buy more Drano, put more of that stuff in the tub, and let it settle down in there and clear it out. Because it's no fun, especially if you try to get a shower and you're standing in the water, with soapy water. If you're taking a bath, obviously, then you're in the water. But in the morning, I usually just take showers because it's usually quicker for me to just get a shower than to get a bath. But, you know, hot bath isn't bad either. Visual lag now, but I can hear your voice okay. Okay, if you can hear me, I think that's the most important part, is that you can hear the sound. Yeah, backups are no fun. Yeah, I had a drain in my sink clog a couple of years ago too. That old sink. Man, it'd probably been like 5-6 years since the last time it was actually properly cleaned out. So that thing I'm surprised it took so long to actually back up. But that thing, yeah. Now what happens here is the sink that I used to have, and it was very nice. It had 2 sections in the same sink with a divider down the middle. So you could do your dishes, because I had no dishwasher there. So I would do the dishes in one, have the soapy water in one side, and then I'd have where I'd put all the clean stuff and wash it off. So it wouldn't go back into that same water. Now the tub that I have, or the sink that I have, my apologies, it's just one big sink. So I have a separate little container of soapy water next to it. And that's where all the soapy water is. So that was kind of nice, but the new one is stainless steel. So there's that. And it doesn't seem to back up at all. It's only the bathtub that backs up. So yeah. Well, I was talking about how time is relative just before you came in. I was talking to myself at that point. I was saying, you know, times you sit in traffic and you're like, man, this is taking forever. You sit outside waiting to go see the doctor in the waiting room, and you're sitting like, this is taking forever, man. You sit there for maybe 40 minutes to an hour at most, And it feels like a long time when you're there. But in the grand scheme of your life, you won't even remember that 40 minutes that you spent sitting in traffic or in the waiting room. It's just a blur. So time is really relative. 40 minutes in your lifetime is literally nothing. But in this house, it's the kitchen sink that backs up. Yeah. I remember, I think you have a dishwasher though, don't you? We used to have one, but we did some work on opening up the kitchen, and there were two rows on each side of the kitchen, two cabinets, and under one of the cabinets was this dishwasher, but that got ripped out. So I didn't do that though. I wasn't the one who took it out. I probably would have kept it there if it were up to me, but it wasn't up to me at the time. So yeah, backing up and leaks. Leaks are no fun either. You know, you can get ants. I'm pretty sure that you know this. You can get ants if your tub leaks. I'm pretty sure that's why I had them really bad. Not this spring, but the spring before that, I had ants pretty bad because they liked the moisture that came out of the tub. It was dripping down. So yeah, for the time being, just put a little bucket there, and then the water drips there so it doesn't get on the carpet in the basement. So yeah, and I was also talking about a book that I've been reading. It's I must wipe off all grease from pans and throw it in the trash, not down the drain. Yeah. That's the way. But I was talking about this book, this little short little thing that I read about the royal courts of Aragon and Castile and the Holy Roman Empire, German states, and France and England, and how they'd hire people to make music for them, and especially from Italy. You know, this is Renaissance time, and they hired a lot of people from Italy. Like one particular that I know, Francisco de la Torre. This guy followed the Spanish army in the Italian wars. He followed them over to Naples, and that's where he composed. But ultimately, the music went back to Isabella and Ferdinand. Yep, Isabella and Ferdinand. Yeah, he composed for them. And there was this, I hope I pronounce it right, La Spagna or La Spagna. I hope I pronounce it right. This famous melody. It's a famous melody from that time period, and Francisco de la Torre composed in that style. Now I have a CD of this music through 3 centuries. Yeah. Isabella and Ferdinand, the Catholic monarchs. How much do you know about European history? I know I've heard you talk about some stuff. Hispania. Oh, I've read a lot about European history, though. That's my favorite thing. One of my favorite pastimes is to read about history. I've got some great books and great sources that I've read history from. Germany in particular. Obviously, I said about Bavaria because my family's from Bavaria. On a scale of 10, I know 8. I'd probably know about 8 too. You know, I researched, like I say, Germany, the Byzantines or the Eastern Roman Emperor, Justinian's reconquests, things like that. I don't study Asian history as much, mostly European. But yeah, and Middle Eastern, I guess, to an extent. Like you go back to Assyria and Babylon and Samaria, things like that. And then you can study prehistory as well, but I prefer to study the history of nations and civilizations. And I listen to a lot of music from, I talked about these Spanish music. I have this excellent CD. It's German music for trombones, and it's just excellent stuff. Excellent music. I can throw that on anytime, and it's just very... You read Gibbon, yes. Yeah, Gibbon. Oh, Gibbon. Yeah. Gibbon is an interesting one. I know a lot of people get on him for his criticism of the rule of Christianity in the fall of the Roman Empire. Yeah, Gibbon is a big source on the Byzantines and the late Romans. Yeah, decline and fall. Yeah, I have an abridged version of... I have had the full tome, the whole 6... I believe it was 6 volumes that the book was divided into, but I also have an abridged version of it that's smaller. Yeah, he is long-winded, no doubt about that. It's a long read. It is a long read, but... Yeah, let me get that abridged version. I must have it somewhere. There it is. I see it right here. This is it. I picked this up at a bookstore maybe 2 years ago for $17, it says. Yep. Yeah, here it is. The Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire, abridged edition, Edward Gibbon. Now this is... It says... I hope that's right. We'll take a look at the Turks, volume the 6th. Yeah, I believe it's 6 volumes in total. Reign of Muhammad II, extinction of Eastern Empire. Okay, I'm near the end then. This is it. This is, I believe, the last chapter of the book. It has a table of the Roman emperors. Haha, abridged. Yeah, it is, man. It says here, yeah, prospect of the ruins of Rome in the 15th century. I believe this is the last. It says 1,252 pages in total, not including the table. Yeah, it's a... You want me to read it? I can read something out of it. Let me find something. The Turks. I don't do this very often, so please excuse me if I stutter. From the Isle of Sicily, the reader must transport himself beyond the Caspian Sea to the original seat of the Turks or Turkmens, against whom the First Crusade was principally directed. The Scythian Empire of the 6th century was long since dissolved, but the name was still famous among the Greeks and Orientals, and the fragments of the nation, each a powerful and independent people, were scattered over the desert from China to the Oxus, the Danube. The colony of Hungarians was admitted into the Republic of Europe, and the thrones of Asia were occupied by slaves and soldiers of Turkish extraction. While Sicily were subdued by the Norman lance, a swarm of these northern shepherds overspread the kingdoms of Persia, where princes of the race of Seljuk erected a splendid and solid empire. Conquest of Italy by the Franks. I touched with reverence the laws of Charlemagne, so highly applauded by a respectable judge. They composed not a system, but a series of occasional and minute edits for the correction of abuses, the reformation of manners, the economy of his farms, the care of his poultry, and even the sale of his eggs. I hope I'm doing okay. He wished to improve the laws and the character of the Franks, and his attempts, however feeble and imperfect, are deserving of praise. Charles the Great, the father of Europe. That is how he's known over there. He's the father of Europe. You know, in German, they call France, they call it Frankreich. Yes, sale of his eggs. Sale of his eggs. That's what it says. Yeah, right. They call it Frankreich, which means land of the Franks. So in modern day German, their name for France is basically in English land of the Franks, which is interesting to me. That goes back all the way to Charlemagne and the carriage. Gibbon goes all the way down to eggs. Yeah, he goes into a lot of detail. Whether or not you like just how far down that is, because I mean, most people just wanting to study the progression of the Roman Empire to its final collapse do not need to know all that extra stuff. But the guy's long-winded, and I am too, so that's no problem. Yeah, it's quite a long read. Trying to think. You know what book I need to read again? I believe that we talked about this one time, because I know you're a big fan of this book. C.S. Lewis. C.S. Lewis, one of my favorites as far as I'm concerned. In sci-fi, yeah, Out of the Silent Planet. And then there was Paralandra after that. I have not read Paralandra yet. I want to get to that one. I am very bent. Yes, that is it. Bent. Yeah, we're all bent in some way. Yeah, that was the people, right? I'm trying to remember this. Yeah. Well, these alien people, if you call them alien people, yeah, Earth is the silent planet because it's fallen out with the rest of the planets. Yeah. But these other people are so pure and beautiful and perfect. They don't have any word for lies or evil. The worst they can come up with is that something is bent. Something is bent. And these perfect people. There was no stealing, there was no anything like that. So they had no such word. Yeah, on Mars they had all the different races of people. I don't remember which one it was that had that, so they called it bent. But yeah, I specifically do remember that. That was their word, was just something was bent. The hippo people down in the canyons and the wiry guys up on the high plateaus. Oh, it's a good book. It's a good book. Yeah. And then the Angels of Light. Have you read Paralandra? Yeah, that one was Venus. That was Venus, was Paralandra. And then there was a third one, I believe. I have not read that either. Yes. Excuse me. Oh man, I have to read it again. It's been a while since I read it. Third Back on Earth. Oh, the third is on Earth. Okay. Yeah. Oh, C.S. Lewis. Yeah, I'd say Out of the Silent Planet was excellent. I haven't read the other two to judge or to compare, but I can imagine that Out of the Silent Planet is the best one because, a lot of people know that, but not many people have read Paralandra or the third one. I don't remember what the third one was called, to be honest. Uh, yeah, might be a good idea to go back and read them because they are, man. Okay, this holiday, this December, I'm gonna read Out of the Silent Planet again, and I'll read Paraland. That's what I'll do. The 3. Yeah, if I like Paralandra, I'll read the 3rd one. Yeah. Yeah, this December, I think I'm going to do a bit of science fiction reading. And I'll probably play a bit of... I've been playing a little bit of Civilization recently as well. I don't know if you still play that. I know that I have seen you play it before. You did an unboxing video of Civilization 6. My favorite is game... Oh, I have them here, actually. Yeah, I have them on my shelf. Yeah. 6. My favorite were game version 3 and 4. Now this is what I have here. I have them out. I don't like... One thing I don't like about 5 and 6 is that you have to have it on, like, the digital. It's on Steam. Versus these, you just have it on the disc and it works from the disc. You don't have to be online or anything. But I have Civilization 4 complete, and it has all the expansions and it has the colonization. So I have this. And then I have the Civilization 3 complete. This is probably my favorite one. 3 and 4 are both really, really good, in my opinion. I can play either one. This one is it runs better though on my computer because it's older, obviously, so the needed specification to run it is lower. But yeah, both Civilization. Like going to South America and whipping the king's ass. Yeah, I was playing as India recently on a Pangea map, and it make all the Indians love me. Yeah. Civilization is a fun series, and I have this one as well for the regular Civilization 3. It's the Play the World with the Ottomans and everything. So. Yeah, I still have all these old Civilization things. So. I heard that game version 6 just was released for more systems recently. If you sink his ships, he can never send... Oh, wow. Are you talking colonization, where if you go to where he sends his ships, you can just sink them all and then he will never come? Huh. Yeah, I have it for... on this one, the colonization. I didn't get into that one as much as just Civilization 4. I'll have to play colonization because I do have it on here, but I never got into that one too much. Small glitch, yeah. Yeah, because I remember you'd have to pay tribute, or you could have the king back in Europe. He'd send you soldiers sometimes if you needed them, if he wanted to give them to you, that is. Sometimes he wouldn't give it to you. Well, I'd have to look back at my record. I'm knocked over something. Oh, yeah. Well, I've just put in a purchase. I'm making a mess. I'm sorry for this. I knocked something over. Okay, let me do it one at a time because I went too quick. I believe it was like this. If not, I'll fix it later. It's no big deal. Well, Yeah, the Civilization series is a fun series. Have you ever heard of, let me sit back down, because I don't need to talk standing up. Have you ever heard of the video game? I have this one too on my desk. I'm not going to grab it right now. It's called Europa Universalis 2. It's where you can play as any nation in the world from 1419 to 1819. Oh, that game is excellent. That's an excellent video game. I think that came out in like 2001 or 2002. Yeah, I played a lot of that one too. Oh, it's an excellent video game. If you can find it. If you have like a... God, I don't know if you'd find it at any used game stores nowadays or not. Like if you have a software store for computers. But yeah, that game has a lot of... let me pull it up. If you look it up, I believe you can buy this game off a site called GOG.com still. What's this? You can see the spelling of it. I hope it's not reversed. It's Universalis. Universalis. Yeah, conquest, trading, diplomacy from the Middle Ages to Napoleon. Universalis, yeah. Yeah, that's how you spell it. Oh, am I breaking up? I'm sorry about that. I don't... It might be... Let me try and fix it. This camera is a bit screwy. It should be better now. It shouldn't be as laggy. Sometimes if the camera gets a lot of light into it, it will lag out. I don't know why that is. Okay, there you go. Europa Universalis 2. That is an... Oh, if you like old music, if you like trombone music, if you like any classical music from the 15th century to the 18th century, has a lot of it. Sound is breaking too now. Let me get on and see if it does that for me. My stream does that. It looks to be a little bit glitchy. My stream does that. It looks to be a little bit glitchy. Okay, it looks to be fine. I don't know if it's just on my end or if it's on your end or what, but hopefully it gets better. Okay. I see you're writing. Let me get out of this thing so it doesn't slow the connection. Lag. It's still... It might help if you can hear me. It might help if you go to your video settings and if you turn the resolution down, if it's like 720p or a high def, turn it down to low def or standard def, and it might make it a bit less laggy because it doesn't transmit as much information. Hopefully it clears up because I don't know why the streams do that. going to do something real quick. My friend in California. I'm still here. I'm just stepping off. Hopefully the sound is not too bad right now. What did he say? Was 480. I turned it down to 360. Okay, hopefully that helps it clear up. Is it the sound glitching? Because that's the most important part. If the sound is glitching. You know, I might not be 13 years old anymore. I haven't been 13 years old in a long, long time, but I feel like it's sometimes. I still got a spirit. Sound is still okay. Yeah, I had to clear up something. Well, let me plug this keyboard in because I type better on this. Are you using are you watching this from your computer or from a smartphone? This is my keyboard that I type good on. Now I have a phone call. Are you saying you want me to call? Or, so is it because of the sound clear enough? Okay, there we go. Now it says keyboard. My phone I have. Well, I'm old school. I have a desktop computer. I don't have a laptop. Well, I do have a laptop, but I don't use it much because it's pretty slow. Brother, I don't. I'm sorry. Oh, my brother on the phone. Okay. I was gonna say that had me kind of confused. No worries. I'll be here. About halfway through this glass already. Well, we've been playing phone tag. Is that number something that I can call you at? Like, whenever I do a stream or whatever, I can just call you on that, and because I don't want to call if I'm interrupting or anything. Yeah. wait. I don't have the mouse anymore. Going to writing workshop tomorrow. Talk about I always forget my topic. I think of something, then I get sidetracked. That's the way it is. I get confused. We type, we talk, we type. I say some things and I type some other things. That's how it. Yeah, this is kind of a. Yeah, Spanish, of course, is a very widely spoken language. If you go to Spain, obviously, you speak Spanish there. You go down south, you go to. I mean, well, you've been to Tijuana. You lived in Tijuana for a while, obviously. How many people there speak English? Like fluent English. Yeah. But obviously, if you go down to the south, except for Brazil, basically, it's Spanish. But yeah. Spanish is a good one to learn than German just because of area. So you must go somewhere and live with people who only speak the language, like I did in Tijuana. Tijuana. Well, do you make? I'd imagine if you collect like any sort of a pension, retirement, anything, it's probably worth a lot more down in Tijuana, in Mexico, just because of the peso to the dollar. Yeah, if I were to go down, I'd try and speak Spanish with them. My dad went down many years ago, decades ago, with a party to mountain climbing, and he didn't speak Spanish. Yeah, of course, that's definitely a good viewpoint. Is like, if you're going to visit them, you should speak their language. Yeah, the peso to the dollar is pretty bad, so your money's worth a lot more in Mexico. I don't know how it compares with like European countries. I don't know exactly, or Canada. I know some people from Canada that have pensions that will be worth more if they travel down there to go in like Tijuana. I know a friend that lived in Tijuana. He moved to Tijuana for a couple of years. He's 62, I believe, 61 or 62 years old. He lived in Tijuana for a couple of years. Like the late 90s, early 2000s, something like that. I'd go to Tijuana. Cheap, like Greece. Greece would be kind of cool to visit, obviously, from the perspective of history. There's a lot there. I don't know how Greece is in terms of standards of living, but it would be a cool place to vacation. I'm pretty sure that a lot of the Greek economy is fueled by tourism, at least in recent times, anyway. Lots of gringos in Tijuana. Yeah. That's why the name is Daniel Tijuana Gringo, isn't it? Oh, it just ticked over. Yeah. Tijuana. I don't know if my dad went to Tijuana when he was in Mexico. I know he was in Mexico City. He went up north for a little bit, but I don't know if he made it up north to Tijuana, because obviously to go from Mexico City up, oh, Mexico is strangely mixed. Donkeys and computers side by side. Yeah, my dad loved it when he went. I believe that was like 80s or 90s. He went about 20, 30 years ago. Um, yeah, apparently people are really nice over there. And he was supposed to go down to, let me look at the map. He was going to go to Ecuador. I believe he was going to go to Ecuador. Mexico City is expensive. Yeah, that's where he was for most of it, I believe. But he was going to go down to Ecuador, but he had some medical problems, and they said, if you go down to Ecuador, you're not going to be able to get health care very easily if you were to have problems while you're down there. So he ended up not going. Yeah, he met, I forget the guy's name. He's a world famous mountain climber from Mexico. I don't remember his name, but he went up with him a couple times, and he helped him fix his stove or something like that. Yeah. Well, my dad's been all over the world, far more than I have. Oh, I'm going to Europe. I'm going on a pretty nice trip to Europe when I can. I have a kind of a route mapped out of where I'd want to go in Europe. It would be a history trip for the most part. Well, I'm trying to think where I'd land though, because I don't know if I'd want to go to the UK in the same trip, because then I have to cross the channel either by plane or by boat. Maybe land in France or in Holland. I want to go to Holland because I want to see the tomb of the Kaiser, if you know what I'm talking about. I don't know where Dorn is, but I want to go to it. I'm going to look that up actually on Google, where Dorn is. At Castle Dorn, center of the village. New York to Portugal isn't expensive. Yeah, if I were to go to Spain, I'd probably start in Portugal. Now, one thing that's nice about the European Union, whether you think the European Union is a good thing or not, it makes travel easier. Flight, yeah. Well, let me look at a map. Oh, I see. It's basically in the center of Holland. Yeah, all one money system. That is nice too, because if you have euros, you can just take euros with you. You know, I've got a lot of Canadian money in my wallet. Keep Canadian. I have a change flow that's actually from Canada too. Except the Brits, yep. And the Brits are gonna maybe someday bail out of the EU. We'll see if they actually end up leaving anytime soon, because it's just extension after extension after extension. If you've been following that whole debacle, if you want to call it a debacle. Yeah. Have you been to London before? I'd love to go to London as well. A lot of museums and a lot of different things to see. I know somebody who went to Scotland in March of this year, I believe. March, April of this year. I wonder where he took off from. I wonder where his plane took off from. I do not know. I could ask him at some point. Not in London. Yeah, I've heard London is pretty busy though. Can be kind of hard to get around sometimes. Oh, New York City. Only went one place, stayed there a month, and came home. Yeah, my trip to Europe would probably be a mobile trip because I just want to try and see as much as I can due to the lack of finances for a trip. I'd want to see Germany for sure, Holland for the Kaiser, Austria, the Czech Republic or Czechia, Prague in particular, Hungary. I would love to go to Istanbul or Constantinople. Have you heard that song from I believe it was the 1920s. It's, Constantinople, and then it's nobody's business but the Turks. I forget who made that song, but yeah, it's an old song. And there was that other one with Istanbul, not Constantinople. No, it's Istanbul, not Constantinople. You got me out of it when I'm singing. There you go. Yeah, Constantinople. See you. Ellie. Gone to Steve. Rent a van and go camping is my daydream. Oh yeah, my uncle has a campsite along the stream. I went there many times in my childhood. I drive by the tributary every day of that stream. I drive by the tributary of it every day. I could get on if I really wanted to, and I could go down that stream and I could get to that old campsite because it's still there. I don't know what's left of it, but it's still there. It's on an old dirt road in the middle of basically nowhere. Oh, and there's one guy's house next. They're camping in Europe. Well, if you go backpacking across Europe, I know some people like to do that. Yeah, I'd probably just rent. Obviously, I have to rent a car. I'm not going to haul a car over to Europe unless I was moving there. Yeah, there's a lot of... Oh, Bavaria. We talked about Bavarian mountains. Go there. That's really nice. Yeah. Bavaria's an excellent place. Camping down in Europe. If you've ever been to Pennsylvania, it's kind of like Bavaria. In some parts of Germany, it's pretty similar. That region of the U.S. is pretty similar to Germany, actually, in terms of the landscape, and obviously the Pennsylvania Dutch. So, I don't know why they call them the Pennsylvania Dutch because they're Germans, but yeah, camping is something that I haven't done in quite a while, but I always used to love it. Well, if I were to go back. There's a lot of people I gotta go and see before they pass away. I'll maybe go visit my uncle and maybe take a trip with him. Your ancestors, yeah. Well, yeah. I say it like an Irishman, but if I try to speak German, I sound like an Irish speaking German. So there you go. what was it? König von Preußen? König? I don't know what it was. Or yeah, Österreich. Yeah, I need to learn German. That's something that I need to do, is learn German. So, my chair loves to make squeaky sounds. So. If you can tell, this chair is pretty. It's had a long life. Yeah, still everything about it's fine though. The bearings are fine. The mechanism to go up and go down works fine, but the material is destroyed. And I don't know exactly how this happened because I don't pick at it or anything, but it got destroyed. Now I gotta get out of it in order to. Have you ever read a book called Terraforming Earth? I forget who wrote that. Let me look. Terraforming. By Jack Williamson. I read another great book. I'm losing my upholstery in my car seats. Yeah. How old is your car? I don't remember what your car is actually. Oh, but here's this book. It's by S.M. Sterling. It's called Conquistador, and it's set on Earth, but it's a parallel. It's where these. I'm trying to remember. It's this captain that served in the Second World War, and a radio he's working on malfunctions, and it creates a gateway to a parallel universe. And they step into this parallel universe, and what happened was Alexander the Great actually lived a full life, and he created a massive empire. Yeah, I'm trying to remember exactly. Yeah, it redirected the Macedonian Empire from Spain to China. And it was so powerful that the Vandals, the Goths, didn't even come over to Europe. They went elsewhere. So a very different world. Europeans never discover America. So they find America in this alternate timeline, and all of its resources are untouched. So they take all of the resources from America in this alternate timeline, and they take them back to our world. I'm pretty sure. Summarizing that one. Yeah, that was a cool book. Oh, there's a lot of sci-fi stuff that's really good. Oh, yeah. That was a good one. Have you read The Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit? I'd imagine that you have at some point, but yeah, those were some good books too. I was a fan of his stuff. Lord of the Rings. That's another one that I have a special version of. I have all 3 Lord of the Rings books. Actually, it was all 6 books, because when they were first released, it was divided into 2 books for each part. In 1955 or 56. 12 miles to the... Many, many times. Read even once in Spanish. J.R.R. Tolkien. That's funny, we talked about C.S. Lewis earlier, and one of his good friends was J.R.R. Tolkien. It's kind of a funny thing. Yeah, and I believe that Tolkien was the one who basically convinced C.S. Lewis to become Christian. I'm pretty sure it was him. But yeah, The Hobbit captivated me. That was an excellent read. Yeah. Lord of the Rings is a bit wordy. It's a bit too, at least in my opinion, it's a bit too visualized. Like he's always talking about, here's a rock over here and some grass and a tree. A lot of visual detail that he puts into his stuff. But it can get a little bit boring sometimes. That's from what I remember of Lord of the Rings, the book. Yeah. Oh, and that's a fairly long read too, for all of them put together. The Hobbit wasn't too long. Yeah. Oh, whenever I move next, I'm gonna try and build a study. I'm gonna have a study room. I'm gonna have a library in my study. And that's gonna be the research room and the reading room. If I get my estate, I know the word estate, yeah. If I get it, I might turn the garage into a little, assuming that I can make it decent in terms of the temperature, I could turn the garage into a study, which would be cool, because I probably won't use the garage for a car, and I don't have a motorcycle. I won't get one. So motorcycles scare me, honestly. And I see people that listen to music when they're on a motorcycle, and just like, yeah, that sounds funny. Lord of the Rings. I have that too. I'm not gonna pull that one over. But yeah, they need more drink. It's starting to change color a little bit, isn't it? Oh. Trying to finish that. Yeah. There's a lot of good stuff from the 20th century. Oh, I really wonder, do you have a physical copy of the Oxford English Dictionary? Do you have the one that's like what was it? It was like a smaller version of it, where they shrunk it down and made it really condensed into small, like they put multiple pages on one page, and then you have the magnifying glass to read it. Yeah, I saw that for sale at a local store a couple of months ago, and I thought about buying it, but I was like, yeah, but I'll need the magnifying glass. But I might go back if it's still there. I might get that because it did look nice. Because it takes up a lot less space than the full thing. OED with magnifying depth. Yeah, I think. Let me look up if I can find that online. Do you have to use the magnifying glass with it, or is it big enough that you could try and read it without it? I might do a video reading my old World War I science fiction story. Soon. I could do a summary of that. Tried to read a flea engraved on a head of rice. At least it comes with that, so. I wrote a story. I didn't finish it. I had to break. I was kind of wondering. I didn't finish the story, but it was about World War I and these soldiers on, actually not the Western Front, but the Eastern Front. And they also got the Paris gun. If you know what the Paris gun was, the first man-made object to enter the stratosphere were the shells of the Paris gun, actually. And they shot the Paris gun trying to hit Moscow, but they went up in the stratosphere and they punctured a hole in the stratosphere. And through that, they could see into the universe. And so these people go back. They don't tell anybody about what they found. They get on. They steal planes. They learn how to fly. They steal planes, and they try to go up. And since everything gets smaller, they actually can cross out. And so basically now these people are out in like a time vacuum, and they are able to go back in time anywhere they want. And so they try to go back in time. I forget exactly when it was. It was before the war, definitely. This is about where I stopped writing it. So these people go back in time to, must have been 1871. And they stop Prussia from winning the Franco-Prussian War. So Germany does not unify. But that causes an even worse Great War. But they get stuck because the portal that they created was not in the world that they were in. So now these people are generals in the next war. I worked on that probably 3 years ago. I didn't finish it. But they get a tiny glass of water and pour it into their quantum thermos. Yeah. I've thought about writing some poetry, something that's a bit shorter than writing a full story. It wasn't a full story like a novel, it was a short story. But I've thought about doing a bit of poetry. I wrote a poem about Frederick the Great one time. I'd have to find, I'm sure I have it on my computer somewhere. If you would like it, I could read that. That I made when I was young about Frederick the Great. If I'd have to find it first, but I could make a video where I read it. Well, I can go on. Oh man, if I write, if it calls you and answers, yeah. Yeah, I've thought about writing some stuff. Now, do you write on paper? When you write stuff, do you do it on paper still, or do you write using a typewriter or a computer? Wow. Compact edition of the Oxford English Dictionary. $300 they want for it on Amazon. Wow, $300. That's a little bit. Well, it is a nice little book. Yeah, I figured I'd head out soon because it's 56 minutes. I use paper sometimes. It's just to do it on the computer. I don't know how fast you type, but to me, doing it on the computer is quicker. Yeah, use laptop. And of course, with real paper, it takes up space. Not very much, but And it's easier to go back and edit. So I usually just use a computer to write. Do you use like Microsoft Word, or do you have your own program for writing? Wow. 50 words a minute. I'm like 60 something. Like 60, mid 60s, I'd say. I haven't done one of those tests in a while. Worked many years as a typist. Yeah, I've been typing more and more in the past couple of years, so I'm getting better at it. Mostly Microsoft Word. Yeah, I have on this computer, I have the Microsoft Office 2016 with Word and OneNote and all that other stuff, so I use that. Well, 3 minutes to go. Excellent 60 is very fine. Let me see if I can't find one of those quick typing tests. This is not the best judge, obviously, but I'll take one. Why not? I'll just do a 1 minute test. It's 60 something. I'm not gonna. It's being a bit laggy on the typing, so I'm not gonna do that right now. But I believe it's 60 something. So I know somebody who can do 90. It's like, wow, he must have spent a long time on that. 90 words a minute. There's some people that can do more than that, I'm sure, but pours a glass of wine while Ben is taking a test. Well, how much longer can you stay on this thing for? Because I figured I'd wrap it up fairly soon. My glass is getting down there from what it was. So I'm in no hurry to log off this thing, so. But if you have to go, or if you feel like going soon. Yeah. Oh, we are very, very lucky to have what we have now in terms of technology. Think that anybody can buy one of these computers, and not only can they have a keyboard, they can type as many words as they want to. They'll never run out of paper. Never. They can type as long as they want to. They can do whatever they want to. They have the internet. They can look up anything they want to. Computers can do so much, and it's. I mean, if you show this to people, anytime in the past, really, before the 1980s, 1970s, because by the 1970s and 80s, I'd say we could definitely tell that was eventually going to be a thing. But before, especially before the war, people would have been amazed by what we have now in terms of computer. Oh, don't show them the nuclear bomb, because I don't think they'd like that very much. Quick way to terrify somebody. Ugh. I wonder, I often think if we'll see another nuclear bomb used in war in our lifetime. That was a great example of my how I jump between topics and ramble. Yeah. After the 6th grade, I'm a big old man. Well, I don't remember. I learned to type earlier than that, definitely. But I didn't really get good at it until I was like 12 or 13 years old. And even then, I think I get better and better. The longer I live, I get better at typing. Yeah, that was mostly whenever the big switch came. Yeah, they had before that, though, you had these computers that were mainframes and they took up the whole room. And then in the late 70s, early 80s, you got down to where you had a box. A box that was not very big in comparison, and you had a monitor that was similar in size. Yeah, those old monochrome monitors just had a massive lag attack. Hopefully the lag clears up. Yeah, I don't know. After the Soviet Union collapsed, it seemed like maybe there was going to be peace, but it hadn't taken very long for that to fall apart. Yeah, well, if you watch the news, it is good to, instead of just looking at Fox News or looking at CNN, it's good to look at all sides because you can see biases, you can see partisan stuff, you can see that. And if you see both sides telling a different story, or if you see them telling the same story, old movies. Old movies. I watch some old movies. I don't watch a lot of movies just because I find it hard to dedicate the time to watching a movie nowadays. But yeah, I have movies on tape mostly. On the old VHS. I don't have many DVD movies actually. Excuse me, it's the drink. It's making me burp. Yeah, I still have a VCR, but I don't use that either. A lot of damn news personalities shining like movie stars. Yeah, I don't know. The news, if you look at the news, I mean, if you go on YouTube, you can find newscasts from the 1980s and even way before that. It's changed a lot. It's changed quite a lot. I don't know if it was Chris Matthews, yeah. Chris Matthews. I mean, it's not all garbage, but we've had a shift. We've had a shift big time. I remember television coverage the night, when was it, November 9th? or November 8th, I believe, of 2016, the election night, watching television on election night. And I'll be watching television in 2020 on election night. And we'll see if Donald Trump gets elected again. We will see. Or we'll see if it's Bernie Sanders or Joe Biden or whoever else. I don't know exactly yet who's going to win. I think it depends on who the Democrats run. Who do you think has the best chance to win for the Democrats? If you know enough about it, which I assume you know at least a little bit about the candidates that are running. See the bubble-headed bleach blonde on the news at 6. Election night was insane. Oh, 2016. God, and you remember his inauguration? It was January of 2017. Oh, that was pretty crazy, too. Yeah. That was a time to be alive, was Trump's election inauguration. That was quite interesting. Yeah, he could run again in 2024. But we'll see if that were to be the case, if his support would erode. But, some of his fans are pretty diehard. So they'd probably still be with him in 2024. I wouldn't be surprised to see him run in 24 if he fails in 20, if he isn't in really poor health by then. Some people have said that Clinton was going to run for 20. I think it's too late for Clinton to run for 20. And a lot of people, Hillary Clinton. A lot of people don't like Hillary Clinton. Yeah. What was that in D.C. that happened? Oh, there were a lot of protests all over America and all over the world even when he was inaugurated and elected. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that was quite a time. Crazy time. Yeah, because a lot didn't like her. Well, I wonder how good Bernie would have done against Trump in 2016, and it very well could be Sanders versus Trump this election. Lived there from 74 to 77. My friend lived in D.C. for a couple of years, and one of my sister's friends lives in D.C. He's actually a politician. He met old Reverend Al Sharpton, of all people, at a convention or a rally or whatever it was. And Al Sharpton ran into him for over an hour about different things and about how you are leading a new generation of politicians, black politicians. Yeah. I had that guy on a show a while ago. I don't know when that was, but yeah. Well, 1 full minute lag. But I was going to say that that number. I forgot what I was going to say. Hope that he's still there. Hope I didn't lose him. I'll finish this off here. Let's drink. pretty much everything right there. Adjusted time was late. Yeah. But that number, would I be able to just, like anytime I do one of these things, or just would I be able to just call that and talk for a few minutes? So I don't want to interrupt or anything. Yeah, it might just be on the connection thing being laggy. Okay. Yeah, I figured if I ever do one of these things again, I'll try and call before I do it and tell you about it. I won't. It's not like I'm gonna call you 24/7, but maybe every once in a while just to say hi or whatever. You know, I like to, at least for people that I know, I like to just try and call them every once in a while and just say hello and ask how they're doing. That's what I've done forever. I don't like to text people. I like to actually call them on the phone. That's just the way that I am. Oh, do you mean like a stream, like call you in advance before I do it? Or I'm pretty fading, so I'm gonna go fill this up again while you take. Okay, I'm back with this refill. Oh, okay, yeah, so just call in advance. Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I get that, because if I were to just call you when I get on the stream, it would be quite a rush to do so. Yeah. I call a... Forget exactly. Yeah, I don't do these things too often anymore, so I'm not going to be like every day or every week or anything like that. Just kind of, I go on the stream every once in a while. I used to do them a lot more often, but nobody was checking in, so I just kind of... Yeah. Well, the thing is, for you though, you had no way to get in touch other than like to leave a YouTube comment. But now that we have exchanged that, we can just in advance. So. Yeah. Yep. Well, tomorrow I'm preparing for Christmas party, actually. I got some stuff in work for a bit of a Christmas party. I don't know if I think you mentioned that you're going to do a Christmas party. The last one this year is going to be the last one at your current house. So, you're going to switch off, all right. Well, it's been fun. Yep. All right. Yep. Talk to you later, man. I'll be sure to make the party good. All right. Bye. Okay. Now, if I were to go to the other page, look at the thing. Let me see. Well, the text showed up before I saw you type it. Yeah, because of the lag, it has that. Okay, so that was a good little chat we had there. Well, that's why I came on, was to chat with him, so since he's off, I'm probably going to get off as well. Let me just really quickly. Alright. He's off, so I'll get off. That was the most interesting live stream. That goes back. Well, that guy's an old friend of mine, and I actually know him personally, so yes, we have each other's phone numbers. Yeah, that's an old friend of mine. Yeah, I remember during Crucial Time 3 years ago, I watched his videos quite a bit too. But yeah. Since he's gone, I'm gone too.